I'm Hesta Prynn, DJ and licensed therapist. This is Music is Therapy. Your session starts now. Welcome to the show. This episode is going to be short and sweet, and it's just me, myself, and I today, and you. Okay, here's a lyric from Drake's new album, ICEMAN. Sometimes I only see myself in my therapist's glasses, but I'm not taking it serious because she's very attractive. As a therapist, I obviously love this line. And as a therapist, I also think that this line says more about avoidant attachment than half the internet. Because underneath this joke is something real. The ability to get right up to the edge of your own feelings and then sidestep them. To use therapy as a mirror, but not actually look in it, to almost do the work, it's very Drake. And also very avoidantly attached. So today, I'm going to be Drake's hot therapist, Obvi, and we are going to do therapy on Drake. Not on one song exactly, but on Drake as an emotional universe. Because I've been listening to ICEMAN, and I've been on the internet, and I keep noticing that everyone right now seems to be obsessed with attachment styles. Everywhere, not just in my office, but on TikTok, on dating podcasts. My friends who are in relationships in the group chat, everyone's trying to decode emotionally unavailable behavior, which is really just another version of the same question. Why can't I stop thinking about someone who is never fully available to me? And that question is the whole episode. Because Drake's music, across almost 20 years, lives in that exact emotional space. Someone who wants connection, wants to be understood and chosen, but still keeps one hand on the exit door. That is avoidant attachment. And ICEMAN, dropping after the whole Kendrick thing, right? After one of the most publicly mortifying moments of Drake's career, probably the most mortifying moment, it actually might be the most interesting version of Drake that we've ever seen. So today we're talking about Drake. Emotional unavailability, why we miss people who are bad for us, and what music reveals around the way we love. Let's get into it. I would like to start with a disclaimer. I may be a little biased because I spent a lot of years loving Drake, like in a very deep way. He used to be in my top 5 artists of all time. I'll let that sink in for a minute. But you must remember, I am talking about the Drake of 2014. The golden era of Drake started from the bottom, worst behavior, forever. The motto, I remember listening to that in the subway on repeat. In 2014, I was pregnant and I had a smart car that I used to drive around New York City. And I used to park it sideways everywhere. You should ask my friends. And I listened to a lot of Drake in that smart car. And one day, my husband and I went to get like a scan or a sonogram or whatever at the midwife. And she was like, did you know when the baby's born, she will recognize the father's voice from hearing it when she was in the womb? And my husband, like without missing a beat, it was like, well, the baby is going to think Drake is her father. And we laughed and thought Drake would be on top forever. And no one saw Kendrick coming. But I digress. Avoidant attachment. Here's what everyone gets wrong about it. They think it means I don't care, and that is not it at all. Avoidant attachment means I care, but closeness feels dangerous. I want love, but needing someone feels humiliating. So like, I want to be known, but just not fully known for who I am. It's not the absence of feeling. It's how someone manages having way too much feeling. Someone with avoidant attachment often learned early, like when they were a child or even a baby, that needing people was unsafe or pointless. Isn't that so sad? And so the nervous system adapted and taught them, don't need too much. Don't let anyone have too much power. Stay cool, leave first, detach before you get abandoned. And here's where Drake is such a fascinating case study. He sounds deeply emotional and also emotionally unavailable. Sometimes in the same song, sometimes in the same lyric. He expresses the longing, but he keeps himself guarded. That's the avoidant attachment sound. In the song that I was referencing, he starts it off by talking about being the parentified child, how he had to be his mother's father and his father's or his son's grandfather. And so it's very possible, if we want to psychoanalyze Drake, that he learned that as a kid. When he talks about this, he captures the part of us that wants to be loved without fully risking being known for who we are and then possibly rejected. Think about classic Drake, Marvin's Room, Hotline Bling, Feel No Ways, Nokia. There's a playlist I made specifically for this episode in the show notes if you're not a huge Drake fan like I was. But spoiler alert, the pattern is always the same. Drake misses someone after the relationship is already damaged and wants closeness, once the distance has made it safe. Even that tiny fragment from Hotline Bling that everybody knows. You used to call me on my cell phone, right? Do you like how I sing that? That's an attachment wound in how many words? You used to call me in nine words. It's not, I'm here, let's repair, call me on my phone. It's backward looking. It's nostalgia. It's longing. You used to do this. The person doesn't know what they feel until the relationship is no longer demanding anything from them. And then suddenly they can feel everything. And then they can make a really good album about it. Drake's earlier records, to me, felt like Say Anything level heartbreak. You know, in Say Anything, when John Cusack has the boombox outside the window, that's what it felt like. But this album is being called the Vengeance album. On the opening track with the hot therapist line that I love so much, Drake isn't just being icy and defensive. He's actually doing something kind of cool and more complicated. He's touching real vulnerability. Like I said, his dad and his family, he gets close to it and then he pulls back. He deflects and he gets cold again. That move towards, then away, it is avoidant attachment in real time. You're not watching someone avoid their feelings. You're watching someone reach for them and then get scared and retreat, which is way more human and way more interesting than if he just made like a pure revenge album. Here's what happens when someone with an avoidant style gets publicly humiliated. See if this feels familiar. They don't fall apart in public, and they certainly don't heal it. They shut it down. They get more controlled. The armor doesn't crack, it freezes. That's ICEMAN. So we're not hearing Drake broken. We're hearing Drake deciding that frozen is an aesthetic. Like if you're going to be cold, you might as well make it look intentional, which clinically is exactly what the nervous system does. It doesn't say, I'm hurt. It says, no, I'm fine. Watch this. Do you know anyone like this, like in your actual life? I think most of us do. And I think most of us have also been this at least once. The person who got hurt and then came back cooler, acting like being hard was a choice and not a wound. As I'm hearing myself say this, I realize I kind of invented my entire like DJ persona on this. Ice is distance. Ice is you cannot touch me, which is honestly like very fucking baller and very interesting. Okay. Why do we miss people who were bad for us? People think they miss the person. Sometimes they actually do, right? But a lot of the time, and I say this as a clinician who has sat with a lot of people who cannot figure out why they can't get someone out of their head, they miss the activation. That feeling of almost being chosen, like that high of getting a little bit of love from someone who usually withholds it. And by the way, this doesn't have to be just from a lover, like a relationship. It can be from a friend. I've had friends like that. It can also be from a parent. I have a parent like that too. Wah, wah. But what I'm describing is called intermittent reinforcement. It looks like this. Sometimes the person texts back immediately. Sometimes they disappear for 4 days. Sometimes they're so warm, you're like, oh my God, this is who they really are. And then the next time they make you feel like there's something wrong with you for needing anything. The nervous system gets addicted to this pattern, not because it's love, because it's the unpredictability. Unpredictability spikes attention in a way that consistent, available love honestly does not. The emotionally unavailable person becomes like a slot machine. You keep pulling the lever, right? Maybe today they'll choose me. Maybe today they'll finally say that thing. That's why so many Drake songs hit the way they hit. They live in the emotional space after this intermittent reward system has stopped. Like the phone isn't ringing the same way. You used to call me on my cell phone, and now his ego is bruised. The attachment system lights up, and that becomes art. Because people love to talk about their attachment styles, why don't we take a quick tour through all four through music? Like, I don't want to turn this into a class, but also this is so fun, so let's go. Okay, 4 styles. Number 1, secure attachment sounds like, I like you, I can be close to you, we can have conflict and actually repair it. Love doesn't have to feel like a hostage situation. Secure attachment makes for cheesy songs. I am looking at you, John Legend. I'm looking at you, Coldplay, Air Supply, Journey et al. Okay, type 2, anxious attachment. Anxious attachment sounds like, why did your tone change in the text? Why did you take 2 hours to respond? Let me just tell you what he said like 400 more times so we can find the clue. It's a forensic investigation. Olivia Rodrigo, Ani DeFranco, Taylor Swift, et al. Type 3, avoidant attachment, which you're now an expert in. Sounds like what, right? I miss you, but stay over there. I want you, but don't need me. After I leave, I'll put all of my vulnerability in a song. Drake is the master obvi. Now type 4, which is really challenging. I have some couples like this, and it's challenging to see it in action. It's called disorganized attachment. And it sounds like this. Come here, go away. Save me, don't touch me. I hate you, please don't leave me. That's the chaos lane. A lot of the most intense love songs live there. And the thing about this is that often the chemistry, like the sex chemistry, is real. And so is the danger. 9 Inch Nails, Billie Eilish, Travis Scott, SZA, et al. Here's what I tell my patients whenever they're like, I'm avoidant, anxious attacher. I'm like, no, you're not. Most of us are not one style all the time. I mean, almost none of us are. So different relationships bring out different things in us. Like in one relationship, you might be a secure attachment type, or in another relationship, you might be avoidant. That's why songs are useful in my work, because they show us the pattern before we're ready to say it out loud. Okay? Class dismissed. Something inspiring me this week is Brianna Wiest's book. I think that's how you say it, Brianna Wiest's book, The Mountain Is You. Questlove, one of my favorite people, just had her on his iHeart podcast. And I've been rereading the book, and actually I've been purchasing it for all my patients. It's about self-sabotage and how to recognize it in yourself and take responsibility for your own life, which I'm obviously very much into. So I've linked the book in the show notes. Why I bring this up? It occurs to me that avoidant attachment is often self-sabotage that looks like independence. Listen to that again. Avoidant attachment is often self-sabotage that looks like independence. For example, I don't need anyone. I work better alone. Nobody really gets me. Real talk, I'm an expert on this, an expert because I'm very guilty of this. You can ask anyone. You can ask the girls in the band that I was in my 20s. In fact, I have said about myself many, many times, I realized this when I was putting these ideas together for this podcast, I've said out loud many times, I'm a solo act, right? That's like my cool armor ICEMAN line. I'm a solo act. But the truth is, I actually prefer collaboration. This type of person actually wants love deeply. They just don't trust closeness. So what happens is they subconsciously sabotage the thing they actually want, the closeness, the collaboration, to protect the thing that they know, which is control, distance, the familiar feeling of being safe and alone. Do you do this? Write to me, musicistherapypod@gmail.com, and tell me a place where you can see yourself doing this. The Mountain Is You, Brianna Wiest's book, teaches you how to see patterns like this in yourself. Avoidant attachment is not villain behavior. It's protective behavior. It developed for a reason. I tell my patients this a lot, like dysfunctional behavior is often a strategy. Avoidant attachment is a behavior. It's a strategy to keep people safe, but it actually hurts people and it keeps you incredibly lonely. So the question is not, what is wrong with me? The question is, ready? This is really profound. What am I protecting myself from? And is that protection still helping? Or is it now costing me the thing I actually want? That's where change starts, not with shame, but with recognition. So even if you're not avoidant as like a characteristic, you have an avoidant part. There's a part maybe that makes a joke when things get serious, or a part that says, I'm fine, when you really are not fine. That part would rather be maybe like impressive than intimate. That's my problem, right? I'd rather people be impressed with me than like know the real me and have to take a risk. So here's a question. Where do you use distance to feel safe? And where is that distance now keeping you lonely? And I have an exercise you can do to get some answers. Ready? Here's what you need. 1 piece of paper, 1 pen, 3 songs, 12 minutes. Here we go. Song number 1 will be a Drake song that feels like emotional distance. Marvin's Room, Hotline Bling, Feel No Ways, Trust Issues, something from ICEMAN. It doesn't matter. Pick a song from the Drake playlist that I linked in the show notes. Song 2 is a song that feels like emotional honesty. Pick this song from my monthly playlist, Songs That Hold the Feeling for You. That's also in the show notes. On that list could be like Fred Again, SZA, Harry Styles, Fleetwood Mac, something emotional, whatever like opens up a door of an emotional feeling for you. Song 3, you choose this one. A song that you love that makes you feel like you. Your secure song. You don't need to overthink it. Just like a song that you love that makes you feel like yourself. Okay, take out your paper, write 3 columns on the paper. Here's the name of the columns. What I want, how I protect myself, what it costs me. First, play the Drake song. While the song is playing, write fast, don't edit. Go all 3 columns. Example, I want connection. I stay busy. It costs me intimacy. I want to be known. I perform being fine. It costs me being loved for who I actually am. All right. When that song ends, play the honest song. Same columns. Notice if the answers change when the music changes, because they will. That's the whole method. Music shifts the emotional state, and the emotional state changes what you actually access from within the body. Finally, you play the secure song, your song, and you write 1 sentence. Ready? The next honest thing I can do is blank. Not 10 things, 1. Fill in the blank. Here's some examples. Send the text. Don't send the text. Tell the truth. Make the appointment. Let it be over. Let it begin. Just 1 honest thing. Because the goal isn't to become perfectly attached, all right? That's not like a one-shot deal. It's to interrupt the pattern 1 honest action at a time. If Drake teaches us anything, it's that longing can make incredible music. But the vulnerability without the demand that you show up, it only gets you so far. Even if you want like something different, if you want to do something besides just miss people beautifully, you have to become available for the thing you keep singing about. That's therapy on a Drake song. Okay. The monthly playlist, Songs That Hold the Feeling for You, is in the show notes along with the Drake playlist. And if this episode hit you, or you found something you liked in this, please share it or leave a review, rate the episode. This really helps the algorithm pick it up and grow the show. I'm a slave to the algorithm. Please rate it though. And if you want to share something that came up for you or ask me a question or just tell me what you think of this episode or Drake and his hot therapist, email me at musicistherapypod@gmail.com. I reply to every single email, you guys. I've been talking about Led Zeppelin in these emails for a minute now. This is Music is Therapy. My name is DJ Hesta Prynn. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. DJ Hesta Prynn's Music is Therapy is a production of iHeart Podcasts. I'm your host, DJ Hesta Prynn. Our executive producers are Marissa Bramwell and Jonathan Strickland. Our associate producer is Jonathan Klopp. Our marketing lead is Allison Cantor-Grabler. That's it.